Good afternoon, everyone. All right, so today's class we are going to do, we're going to be talking about Thanksgiving a little bit. Get in the spirit. So we all know how people kind of traditionally celebrate Thanksgiving now in the U.S. It's pretty standard. You know, we have turkey, mashed potatoes, and pretty much that's it, and people would know it's Thanksgiving. But, you know, people do yams. Desserts, are a big thing. There's lots of appetizers and snacks. The main thing about Thanksgiving is it's harvest time, and that's where it kind of came from, was from harvesting. And this is the harvest year, and so everybody celebrates, like, look at all this that we've got together, and we're going to celebrate by eating it, and let's have a big feast with everybody, and then let's invite everybody over. And that's why they do like the Macy's Day Parade, to make it kind of be a big thing. But today what I want to do is, that's how it's done in the U.S. So what we're going to do today is have a class on how Thanksgiving looks throughout the world, in different places of the world. So we're going to visit 7 different places, kind of, and I'm going to go over how they celebrate Thanksgiving in these 7 different places throughout the world. That is, starkly different to what the U.S. does. So let's get started. I know how sometimes people don't like the video to go too long, and I can be a little talkative. So here we go. Let's get started. So the first one we're going to go to is and I'm sorry for the pronunciation of some of these. I don't mean to belittle any place by not knowing their language, but I'm going to do my best as I know. The only one I think I might get close to right is Germany. So, this one we'll go over, and, again, I'm sorry if I do not pronounce it correctly, but I will show you the spelling of it, and so, maybe y'all can look it up and tell me exactly how it's pronounced. So the first one is the Kadazan Festival in Malaysia. There's a nice picture, and there it is, the Kadazan Festival in Malaysia. And so what they do, and like I said, everybody does something different. But Malaysians believe that without rice, there is no life. So the Kadazan Festival, celebrated in May, not in November. I'm sorry. Celebrated in May, worship rice as an extension of the Creator, and thus the source of thriving and existence on Earth. Malaysians celebrate the Creator, Babazan, for his generosity in facilitating life on Earth. In time of creation, the story that their God sacrificed his daughter in order to save the people who would otherwise suffer from great famine, basically take everything away. He buried parts of her across the land, and her body became the seed of the rice paddy. Still today, the people of Malaysia believe the grain holds the spirit of life and creation. With a rather dark origin to such a bright festival filled with rice wine, buffalo races, and agricultural shows, the Kadazan Festival is a beautiful day of giving thanks to the Creator who made the people's most prized staple of life. So in Malaysia, rice is something that is celebrated and to be given thanks for. So the next place we're going to go, that's a very interesting story, is the Chuseok Harvest Festival. I know in Korea. So maybe Melody could help us, for those of you who might still be in contact with Melody, and she might be able to help you out. But again, that's kind of, a picture of it, and also the pronunciation there, so maybe you all can look it up. So the Chuseok Harvest Festival in Korea, celebrated on the 15th day of the 8th lunar month, emphasizes respect and commemoration of elders and ancestral roots. Aside from the usual Thanksgiving traditions, it is feasting with families and friends. Families return to their ancestors' hometowns and hold memorials at relatives' grave sites. So this is in Korea. Along with songpyeong, traditional rice cakes, toron tyong, or taro soup, and songai mushrooms. And like I said, I might not be pronouncing this correctly. I'm just doing my best. People celebrate with dishes made from the freshly harvested rice. Celebratory friend and family activities include archery, musical competition, and singing folk music. While this is a holiday to honor family, ancestors, Chuseok is a special time for spreading happiness and togetherness amongst those you love. This is very nice. But again, it's also centered around rice. Rice has been a big staple in a lot of countries throughout the world, and it's something that it's a sustenance that people really need and use and have for a very long time to sustain themselves. All right, so our next place that we're going to travel to. So we've been sort of over to the eastern part of the world. Now we're moving more towards Africa. So this is the Festival of Yams in Ghana. So it's called Homowo. Homowo is an African festival dedicated to the hopefulness that the crops will be plentiful for the coming year and no one will experience famine. And famine is basically when a crop fails and fails terribly. It could be from insects, it could be from the sun, it could be weather, anything, can cause famine. So people celebrate and in a way kind of asking their creator to say, hey, please, let's have this be a good year. So celebrated in August or September, the Festival of the Yams is centered around the new yam harvest. Families are brought together, thrilled and hopeful, and slightly competitive, it says, to be the group with the largest crop. So the more you bring in, the better you look, apparently. Everyone in the village comes together and shares their bounty, and yams are the prize dish out of all the harvested vegetables. We also call them sweet potatoes here, yams. I love sweet potato fries. I do love yams, and they're very good for you. During this harvest festival, the villages rejoice by dancing and singing with animal masks, acknowledging the end of the rainy season and desiring a fruitful harvest to last well into the new year. So that is Ghana. And again, here's a picture. But it's, again, yams are theirs. Kind of want some yams or some sweet potato fries. Sounds pretty good to me right now. Or just like a sweet potato with some butter and, that's good stuff. All right, now we're going to more of the European style. So we're going to go to Germany. And this one's called Erntedankfest. All I know is that Dank means thanks. Fest is festival, basically. Ernte. So I'm guessing Ernte is thankful. But it's Thanksgiving Day, so Erntedankfest. So Erntedankfest, the Thanksgiving Day in Germany, is a religiously dominated celebration where the churches run the show. Both Catholics and Protestants celebrate and attend church services during this Thanksgiving celebration, which falls on the first Sunday in October. Like most Thanksgiving traditions, Erntedankfest is centered on giving thanks for the year's harvest and grain. In one of the multiple church services throughout the day, giant woven baskets, which you can kind of see here, the baskets there. Look at that. I mean, it's really quite elaborate. So, giant woven baskets filled with fruit, grains, and vegetables are carried to the church, blessed, and then distributed to the poor. After more church services in the middle of the day, there are, okay, so this is a German word that I do not know. My grandpa would not be happy with me because he's from Germany. There are Lanternmusuji. No, it's not that. Tuga. So anyway, they're lantern parades, primarily for the children, hosted in the evenings. The celebratory food is much the same as Thanksgiving Day food consumed in America. However, the Germans have Monstreisel, a sweet bread sprinkled with poppy seed, for a delicious Erntedankfest treat. That sounds good. As I was growing up, I didn't really ever remember going to and I think it was in junior high, depending on what class you chose, if it was French, German, Spanish, whatever second language you chose to decide to try to speak, they would have you go to this little celebratory place, and they would have different foods and different things you could buy from different tables from different cuisines. But if you were in the German class, you could only enjoy the German food. If you were in the French class, you could only enjoy the French food. And if you're in Spanish class, only the Spanish food. I was always kind of disappointed because I'm not a big fan of bratwurst or some of the other German foods that they have, and so I was always looking at the other tables. I remember being like, man, I really wish I could have one of those. But the funny thing is, I remember after we went and we would eat, most of the times I think we would stop at like McDonald's after, for those of people who just were like, I can't eat this. Because we were so young, our palates weren't really developed at the time, and so some of it was really out there. But it's still a fun thing to go and check out. But again, Erntedankfest is Germany, Thanksgiving. Now where do we go? So now we're moving to China. So we have the Harvest Moon Festival, Mid-Autumn Festival in China. Here's a nice picture for you. Really gorgeous and elaborate. Very colorful. So when the moon is the brightest and the fullest, this 3-day celebration takes place in the middle of the autumn season. I like that it's 3 days. I mean, we have 2, but I guess the day after Thanksgiving is now Black Friday, so it's kind of moved right into Christmas now. So it takes place in the middle of the autumn season, also known as the Moon Festival. This celebration is a descendant from the original Chinese customs of moon sacrificial ceremonies, where a series of prayers, poems, and offerings were burned as offerings. Nowadays, the people of modern China are much more accustomed to appreciating the moon, which is the practice of gathering around a table, talking and eating the offerings from the sacrificial ceremony. Reflecting on the importance of togetherness, families eat mooncakes, the round semi-sweet pastries, and the children dance and play with festival lanterns. So again, that's the Harvest Moon Festival. So that's 3 days that they all have fun with this. And it sounds like it would be quite a sight to actually go and behold. So if you ever get a chance to go to China, that might be a good time of year to actually go, to really catch some good food and also some great culture. All right, our next place that we're going to is Israel. And and again, I'm sorry for the pronunciation. Sukkot is the name of the festival. So here's a picture of people in Israel, kind of in their traditional way of celebrating. So this biblical holiday is celebrated on the 15th day of Tishri, between late September and late October, is a time where Jewish people reflect on the struggle of Israelites during their 40-year travel through the desert after the exodus from slavery in Egypt. 7 days long, wow, so we went from 3 to 7 days. 7 days long, Sukkot in Israel is packed full with joyous celebrations and is referred to in Jewish literature as the season of our rejoicing. The word Sukkot means booths, which refers to the name of the temporary dwellings celebrators live in to remember the period of their wandering. However, the holiday also holds agricultural meaning and celebrates the annual harvest that provides sustenance for all the people. So that looks like a fantastic festival. In 7 days, a lot of times with religious ceremonies, things like that, 7 is a very important number for some. Again, 7 deadly sins. You have the 7 cardinal virtues, things like that. On the 7th day we rest. Things like that. So that looks like a very interesting festival. Maybe we should push for our government to say, hey, can we extend Thanksgiving out? I mean, some places have 3 to 7 days. Let's make ours just a whole week. It would be nice. And our last place that we're going to visit is in India. And the name of it is called Pongal. So here is a picture of that. All right. So Pongal in India. as a time for giving thanks to nature. Pongal, the Indian Harvest Festival, is a 4-day-long celebration held in mid-January in southern India. And it contains plenty of rice, sugarcane, and turmeric. In India, cooking spices are really, really important for everything, just to kind of really make food what it is. Way back when, before people really knew how to cook food as well as we do now, there weren't really any spices. Like salt and pepper didn't exist. So really, and I don't know if you've ever tried it, but try a piece of meat or a vegetable or anything on a grill and don't put any salt or pepper in it. It's a much different taste. It's much more bland. The flavor it doesn't pop as much. And spices, the spice trade and things like that, in all sorts of places of the world, spices were worth more than gold at the time because people really wanted their food to be flavorful. And India had some of the best spices. So they contain plenty of rice, sugarcane, and turmeric. When you break it down, the first day is a time for paying homage to Lord Indra, the ruler of clouds, who provides the rain. People celebrate his generosity in providing water for their crops and bringing prosperity to everyone, or to all. The second day is the performance of puja, the ceremonial act of worship, where rice is boiled in milk and then symbolically offered to the sun god. Actually, like rice milk and rice in milk is basically like a pudding. It's really, really good, especially with some of the spices they have. This is just making me hungry. Sugarcane, coconut, and bananas are offered in a small dish, and all participants are clothed in traditional dress. The third day, and again, so this one's at least 3 days. The third day, noted as Matu Pongal, is the day for cows. In representation of the legend of Shiva and Vasava, his bull, the cows are adorned in decorations, beads, corn, and flowers, and paraded around the town. The jingling bells signal the time for celebrating, and the entire scene turns into one giant party. So it starts out kind of as a lull, praying, and then eventually it hits that party time. Also, it goes 4 days. So the fourth and final day of Pongal requires the women of the house to wash a turmeric leaf, lay it on the ground, and place pongal rice around it, asking that the house and their brothers always prosper. Consider venturing to India so you can experience this festival firsthand. Believe me, I would. And it says here, the harvest festivals around the world are bounteous in giving thanks for the natural gifts given by nature and the gods. They bring people together. They gave cultures reasons to celebrate and provide a time for all people to reflect back on the wonderful disposition of their culture's prosperity for the year. Again, so this really has to do mostly with the crops and everything that people work for. And then I have to say, in California, it's very important that we celebrate things like this and appreciate our farmers for everything that they do. I don't remember the exact percentage. I'll try to get it to you, but I would say I think it's about 70 to 80% of all produce in America comes from California. It comes from our farmers here in California and is distributed all over the country and the world even. So, it's very important to actually celebrate and give thanks to our farmers. So this Thanksgiving, when you're sitting around the table and you're looking at some of the things that you're eating, we should really appreciate our farmers while we're appreciating each other. I hope that all of you have a fantastic Thanksgiving. I know this one's going to be a little bit different this year. So, but the good thing about technology, and this is what I'm going to be doing, is, I'll be spending my Thanksgiving here with my dogly and Melanie. And we'll have our own little feast, which is going to be nice. We're actually looking forward to it. It's going to be something different. And we get to make it our own. I will take pictures and send you, pictures of the food that we make. But I again, technology is very good, so go ahead and call family. I always call my family on Thanksgiving, and just let them know that you're thinking of them, that you're thankful for them, and really give thanks to those that have helped us and always help us. And so I'm thankful for you all. I'm thankful that we're all doing very well considering the times that we're living in right now. So thank you for being you and being part of my life and being part of this program. Anyway, happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and I hope you enjoyed this small trip around the world. Okay.